I do have a few Doctor Who Blu-rays. I know I've memed on physical media, but
You hate it.
I don't hate it. I actually generally do want to get back into it, and I just think my current setup at home is not equipped to that. And we are living in a recession. The what's it called, the current living crisis or something like that.
I don't know much about economics. I just kind of
times are hard.
I'm like, my bank account's a bit empty today.
Yeah, you go to buy a Blu-ray and you wonder if you're going to be able to eat for the next week.
Yeah, that's the extent
how it goes.
That's the extent of my thing. It's like tasty burger.
Yeah,
Blu-ray.
Yeah. You can't eat a Blu-ray, but it lasts forever.
Yes,
you can eat.
You can try.
You can eat a Blu-ray.
You were thinking?
Do you reckon you would die? What, of eating a Blu-ray? Is it impossible to buy all the classic box sets?
No. In fact, something that will go your way heavily is these standard edition versions of them.
Oh, God.
Because why is that wow?
Standard edition.
They're in Blu-ray.
No, I know. I know what they are.
It's all the same content. It's just the boxes are slimmer. And I kind of wish I had those versions of them. I'm not going to go sell off my collection now and rebuy all those individually, but because the big ones, they take up so much space, and because some of mine are Australian, some of them are British, they're slightly different. They generally look the same, and if you're looking at it with your eyes half shut, they look fine. But
I'm sure the standard will still be different depending on what.
No, the standards, they're all perfectly lined up. I've seen people's collections of them. Right. You can't get them in Australia, though, so you have to import it from the UK. But
Amazon or eBay, surely.
The way that Australian Blu-rays are going, a Doctor Who show, an Australian podcast, they contacted Universal recently and asked if the season 9 collection set was ever going to be released in Australia, and they said it's not in the pipeline anytime soon. So it looks like at the moment there's a lot of big L's, a lot of big question marks on the collection set being released in Australia.
So can I ask you about that quickly? So I've been seeing you on that's at 50 Doctor on Twitter
and Instagram, if you like.
Instagram. I've been seeing you talking about this a lot. So this is the latest box set that's meant to come out. So with John Pertwee with the Sea Devils and all that.
So season 9, which came out, I want to say maybe a month ago, almost a month ago in the UK.
Yeah, I think
and I've for the last year and a half been importing mine from the UK just because they're better. They're just better packaging. It lines up with a lot of the ones I had already, and I think there's like a piece of art on one of the fold-outs that gets missed if you get the Australian ones, but it's not an overly big deal.
Okay, yeah.
But the Australian ones, they always come out. Sometimes they've come out a couple of months after, which is fine. In cheaper packaging that I actually don't mind. But in contrast, but it's the fact that they released the first 2 in the same packaging as the UK, and then changed it. There was one time, because I emailed Roadshow, who were releasing them at the time. This was the 4th set they were releasing. I want to say it took close to a year to come out in Australia.
Yeah, wow.
I'm probably exaggerating. Time's probably exaggerated that in my head.
Was there no way to order it on Amazon and stuff?
At the time, I wasn't really that familiar with Rare Waves and Zavi and those places. I wasn't really in the Doctor Who community as much as I am now. So I remember I was emailing them all the time, and I was like, are you ever going to make this set? And they're like, oh, there's all this stuff with distribution rights and stuff. And they've ended up, there's now a different distributor in Australia, which is Universal. But the latest one hasn't been up for pre-order, and there's no distribution.
I don't get that. So from an outsider's perspective, I see on Twitter all the time these people in Australia who want to get these Blu-ray box sets. Yeah, they don't distribute them to Australia. Like, what is the idea behind that? Why even release them if they can't go well by?
The sad thing is now they sit on the shelves in JB. This one's from like a year and a half ago, still on the shelves in JB.
Me going to nap them.
Yeah, you could.
Saves me buying them online and stuff.
But like in the UK, those things fly off the shelves. I think some of them have sold a little bit slower than others, but generally speaking, they all fly off the shelves. The big mistake was them changing the packaging and doing things like that. I wasn't aware of the UK, the ability to buy from the UK until only like a year and a half, 2 years ago is when I actually did it. So like 5 or 6 of mine are in the Australian, slightly different packaging.
It's weird though, isn't it? Like that is even a thing.
I think the change of packaging has made a lot of people buy it from overseas, as well as the delayed release date. We complain about this. The Americans have it the most rough. They take longer to come out and they look terrible. They're on like just standard Blu-ray plastic. Like just standard.
Not really.
And instead of being like season 17 and season 20 or whatever, they'll be like Tom Baker season 1, and they just make like a season for each. Doctor, it's
Well, that's
bizarre.
what I mean, though. Like, if you're going to go this far to remaster the old seasons, like, why don't you just distribute it worldwide?
I think, though, it does raise some questions to me as to, is this to do with the Disney Plus deal? And now this is me being completely hypothetical. There is no evidence of this whatsoever. We're assuming that eventually all Doctor Who's going to end up in Disney Plus outside of the UK and Ireland, right?
Yep.
So these classic... Disney Plus doesn't release anything on Blu-ray. And like pretty much no TV shows have been released on Blu-ray that have been made from Disney Plus.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
So do you think they are going to hold that? I think that would be a shame because Australia does have a passionate group of Doctor Who
but
fans.
surely the BBC still calls the main shots. Surely they still have the power to be like,
We don't know.
like, this is actually a thing that we were doing before the deal, and with respect, has fucking nothing to do with them.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
but we don't know because it's like...
yeah, that's a good point, though.
We don't know where this deal starts and ends. I think BBC will hold all the shots in terms of distribution in the UK. But distribution overseas, distribution is a big word. It's to do with how it is first seen, so on Disney Plus, or if it's a movie at the movies. But then it also goes into home media distribution, right? Which often can be a different company, but it's all connected. Are they saying like that's just how you're going to get all your Doctor Who from now on? You're not going to get your Blu-rays, which I think will be a massive shame.
That's a shame.
But also like Doctor Who, New Who in Australia also has been getting treated pretty shit because we got like a few of the steelbooks and then after Series 11, so from Series 12 onwards, instead of releasing the Series 12 Steelbook, I've spoken about this on the show before, they used the same artwork from the Steelbook and made a limited edition Blu-ray, which is the exact same Blu-ray, it just has a different cover. It's not even a slip cover, it's still a normal plastic Blu-ray, but the paper sleeve inside is just the Steelbook art, and that's the limited edition, and it's like $5 more expensive, I think.
Back in the day, like, DVD sales were like the main way for like production companies to make money. Now it's different with streaming, but it's funny, like, they seem to have like forgotten about people like you who want to support this kind of thing, and they seem to be fucking you over in like every way possible. It's like you can't buy, like, it's a different packaging depending on what like country you're in. Like, it's like it's impossible to go to your local shop and buy a copy. Like, if anything, it's like it is and has been an inconvenience for you to fucking support something that should be begging you. They should be kissing your shoes. Saying, fucking buy this from me. It's insane.
I don't know why in 2023 we're still having to like import from the UK.
It's insane.
It takes like a month to get here.
It's insane. I mean, obviously, like, I say obviously, I might be speaking too far ahead here. Like, we're going to get a physical release for season 14.
I've had this scary thought where I'm like,
how can you not?
Are we?
How can you not?
Like, how can you not? Exactly. How can you not? But are we?
But
are we?
Okay, that is actually scary.
That's fucking scary.
That
man.
is scary. This is a world I don't want to live in.